Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to the 360. I'm Dr. Darrius Jeter along with Dr. Gena Crawford, and today we are talking about something that affects more businesses, churches, nonprofits, leaders, organizations, whatever you may have it, and many people as well. It's affecting us in ways that most people are not even willing to admit, and that is the fear of changing with the times, especially during this time with the increasing value of AI, artificial intelligence. The world is constantly evolving. Technology is advancing at a rapid pace. And along with that, when we start talking about businesses and organizations, customer expectations begin to change.
Mhm.
The way we have to communicate begins to change. It even affects the workplace culture. Those
Mhm.
things are changing. The way people shop, the way people learn, all of these things are changing. And the way we make decisions has to change too, because AI is playing a crucial role in all of it. And as we are living in this world that is moving so fast and so rapidly and changing so quickly, many businesses, many organizations are still trying to operate with the same old strategies, using the same old systems they've been using 5, 10, and years way past, and it's not working anymore. And what happens is sometimes leaders recognize that things are changing, but they're afraid to change. They're afraid
Mhm.
to respond because they don't know how, because this technology is moving so fast. And as a business and an organization, you want to make sure that you keep your identity of what makes you you, of what makes your business, what gives you your unique flavor. You want to make sure that you keep all of those things, so you don't know how to change. What all of this stuff is beginning to increase. You want to make sure that you maintain your core value, and you don't want to upset the customers. You don't want to upset the clients. You want people to have the same experience that made them start patroning your businesses to begin with. So that fear of changing with the times begins to set in. That fear of
Mhm.
having to learn this new technology, of how to maintain your brand with this new advance in technology begins to creep in. So we got to be clear about this thing.
Mhm.
Changing with the times doesn't mean that you abandon what makes your business your business. It doesn't mean that you change your core values, but it does mean that we have to understand that while we are keeping our core mission, keeping our core products, our core service, the method in which we deliver it may need to change. It may need to adapt. So, Dr. Gina, I want to throw you into this because I know you have some thoughts and some ideas and some information about this rapid change that's coming in the marketplace when it comes to AI.
Good morning, Catalyst 360 family. Listen, yeah, this whole AI thing. Let me tell you, the funny part about it, I was just sitting here just thinking, when I really caught wind of AI, I did a whole sermon about it. Whole sermon about AI. And so, I didn't know too much about it. I didn't really start using it yet. And so, just watching people use it and watching people being fascinated about it, now finding myself using AI a lot more than I had. I really think, like you said, sometimes it is challenging because these are things that are inevitable. Like, AI is here. Is it going to stay? We don't know, but it's here. And so to be able to adapt to change, which is a lot of times, especially if you've been doing something the same way for 20, 30 years, it is a hard adjustment. It's a hard adaptation. And so I think AI sometimes is something, it's something new. It's something that some people see as replacing humans. So of course there is this underlying fear,
Yeah.
especially if you don't know all the details about it. There's this underlying hesitation, especially if you don't know how to use it. And so, sometimes as pastors, as leaders, as ministers, we will begin to demonize things.
Yeah.
And especially if we have not been taught how to use it. And so, we were kind of thinking about what could we talk about. And I know this is something that people may think about. Classes are popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
People are wanting to know more. And so, just by research, and me asking you that question just now is like, well, how many platforms are out there? And so just researching it, y'all listen, y'all listen. Approximately 90,000 AI platforms are available worldwide.
Wow.
90,000. And
Wow.
so that number was not even close to in my mind. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
oh, maybe 100 or so.
Yeah.
90. So we have access to 90,000 platforms. And granted, they all don't do the same thing,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's scary because now you're looking at it from a humanistic standpoint. You're looking at it from a business owner standpoint. You're looking at it from a ministry leaders. You and I were laughing just now because all the church AI fly is starting to look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really, what's the difference? Sometimes we get excited about something and we start pushing it out. Um, I was laughing with some of my younger mentees, and they were laughing at our generation. And so I had to apologize to them, and I said, "Y'all, I'm sorry because when something is new for our generation, we don't know
Yeah.
how to let it go.
Yeah.
It's overkill. When something is trendy, it's like, oh, let's do the most.
Yeah.
And so, looking at it even from a generational standpoint in business, I'm just talking to those who are in their early 30s, and they're like, okay, we love y'all, but y'all are doing way too much with this AI because it's new to us. We think we have to do the most to stay relevant.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's about just really taking the time to study and taking the time to understand what something is just because it's new. So this whole thing with AI it's an adjustment.
Yes.
It's an adjustment. And so, from what I'm seeing, it looks like it's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah. It's gonna be here for a while.
It's not going away anytime soon. So, our time together today, and if you all are watching, if you have any questions that you want to post, by all means, feel free to do so. I was looking at some statistics, and these are from 2025. So the use of AI in business, in the arena of business, about 18%.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
About 18%. And interestingly enough, I thought it was going to be higher,
Yeah.
especially for the US. I thought it was going to be higher. The reason that they gave was because we're still trying to learn it.
Yeah.
We're still trying to figure out what is this, how can I use it, when do I need to use it. And I think for us, our fear is the replacement of humans.
Yeah. 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 And I think a lot of businesses are kind of in this mindset that it's gonna put me out of business.
Yes.
So that
Yeah,
is,
and that's
yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
That's scary, and it's something that we all have to consider, something that we all have to talk about. But interestingly enough, in the European business sector, 20%.
Hmm. Hmm.
20%. But here's the thing, globally, the use of AI, 72 to 79% of businesses.
Wow. Wow. That's
72 to
that's
79%.
that's interesting. What did you say it was here in America? What was this?
Uh, Last year was 18%.
18% and globally 77%. That's that's crazy because here's the thing, when we start talking about being afraid to make changes and to pivot, if we're at 13 to 18% here and globally it's already at 77%, you have people saying that learning to use AI is going to be one of the greatest wealth creators since the
Mhm.
advent of the internet. We are already looking at
We're
being a
behind.
nation behind.
We're behind. But it's interesting because think about how much we do business globally.
Right, right. And
And so
everybody
for
wants to
us,
do business globally.
yes, I'm a global this, and we're global, we're international,
International.
not according to these statistics.
Yeah.
So but again, that speaks to how do we come up in these areas, not in terms of being competitive, but how do we come up in these areas so that we can stay relevant. And
Right.
so that, I mean, let's be honest, we talk about doing business within, within our own country. But the truth of the matter is, we are people of the world.
Right.
And so some of the things that we're using and some of the businesses that we have, you can't help but interact with people from around the world.
Right. Right.
So
And
how do we make that
if you're
adjustment
not
without
learning
fear?
to, yeah. So we to put it in terms like this, as a business, for you saying you want to operate internationally, or from the standpoint of trying to figure out how is this not going to kill me, how is
Mm-hmm.
it not going to put me out of business, what we have to understand is like, if you are not incorporating these tools into how you deliver your business, operate your organization, in some way, let me put it like this: on a hot sunny day, you're thirsty, you want something to drink, you want some cold water, you're going to go to whoever has the coldest water. So when we're looking at this in terms of business and the way AI is making business different and how
Mm-hmm.
people are operating business, whatever your service, your product is, people internationally are going to go with whoever's product or service is coldest, who's ever is doing
Yep.
it at that level of expectation that they need. So it's no longer we're doing the same thing, and just because you get to like me, you might do business with me more. Yeah, being liked is nice, but I need you to be able to deliver as well. So we got to be able to incorporate these resources into what we're doing in our businesses, our organizations, churches as well, nonprofit
Mm-hmm.
organizations as well. It's essential. It
So
is.
how do you think we get past that fear though?
That's a good question, because we've become set in our ways so
Yeah.
long, and in some sense you kind of lose that trailblazer mentality. But it
That's
all
good.
goes back to something I would say, that when the internet was first starting, one of the things Bill Clinton said is we're going to have to learn all over again. We got to re-educate ourselves all over again. So that's what we as businesses and organizations have to do now to kind of get over that fear. We got to get to the place where we understand, in order for me to survive, I'm going to have to learn all over again. I'm going to have to
Yeah,
learn something new. And that's not always easy, I understand, but we got to learn something new. And it can be fun.
it can be.
It can be fun, seeing all the wonderful things new technology can do at such a faster pace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It gives us the opportunity to think outside of the box. Some of the ideas you may have had but didn't quite know how to produce, these are tools and resources that'll help you do that now at a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm laughing at the fact that you and I were texting, I think it was yesterday, and or the day before, whenever it was. And we were talking about the fact of when you use AI and when your business is promising something, make sure that you can deliver what
Yes.
AI is putting out there that you say you can do.
Yeah. Because again, the tool is only as good as the prompt that you can put into it, and it can only it only adds value if you can do what it spits out to say that you can do. So you do need to walk alongside. It can't replace you in that
No.
manner. It's an aided tool to help enhance what you're already doing at a greater scale and a greater level. So yeah, you got to make sure you can deliver what AI said you're gonna deliver.
So I know I think I was over either I was watching something on the news or having a conversation with somebody, and they were talking about the fact that now people are, or I would say, those students, the college students, so now they're having difficulty choosing a major
Mm,
that AI is not taking over or will not take over. And so now there's some hesitancy there, even, and how this affects business, because now people are not going into certain areas
right,
because of AI, but they're still needed. And
right,
so, as a business owner, how do we get past that to say, no, I still need somebody from a human perspective, but the fear is there even amongst college students, even amongst those who are trying to choose a major, but they're looking at it as, I can't, I really want to do this, is my passion, this
right,
is where I know my calling is know what I'm supposed to do. However, I'm running the risk of AI taking my job or me not getting a job because of AI. So
Right.
as business owners, what do we do?
Right. So this that's a good question, because this is where a business owner who is operating in your particular industry, you have to know your industry. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason you have to know your industry and know the ins and outs of your industry is because you're able to see where this tool can be applied and the things that it can't replace. Um, for us as business consultants, people can go online, they can go use AI tools, and they can ask it all of the same types of questions that we would ask, and get some of the same type of advice. But what's missing is you can't get that guidance that a human can bring. You can't get that
Yeah.
understanding of trends that a human can bring. So those are certain nuances that cannot be replaced. It can give you a framework of how to do something, but it can't walk alongside you and actually help you implement it with the
Mm-hmm.
wisdom and the knowledge that an individual person can. So when you begin to know the ins and outs of your industry, you can begin to see, okay, yeah, I can see how it can be a threat. And it might be able to do this faster and do this quicker and do this at a fraction of the cost. But these are the things that it can't replace. We still need people for it. And we can use people alongside this tool to still do what we need to do. So that's what businesses and organizations have to understand. Yeah, it might replace some things, but it can't replace everything. You're still going to need people, because what we're actually seeing when you talk about college students uh, picking majors, what we're actually seeing is we're going to see a whole transition in the landscape of college education, degree
Yeah.
programs being offered. You're talking about entire industries that are going to begin to suffer 5, 10, 20 years from now, because that
Mm.
human capital is not going to be there. And it's all because now people who are actually functioning in those industries are not having the forethought to say, okay, look, I still need people for this, but let me figure out how to make them work together. Because as a business, I understand the bottom line is the bottom line. You know,
Yeah.
you try to make these numbers work. So you're looking at how I can get something at a fraction of the cost or do something for free
Mm-hmm.
and completely get rid of the labor. But you're gonna need that labor 5, 10 years from now. So we can't just look at it from a bottom line financial standpoint. We have to look at it also from a longevity standpoint.
And I think with you, look, I'm over here taking notes. Um, because I don't think I think we, sometimes, not all of us, but sometimes, we just think short term.
Yes.
How's this benefiting me now? How can this help my business now? How can this help me generate, funds now? And so, do you think that that's a conversation that we need to say, hey, let's look at this thing in 5 years. Let's look at this thing in 10 years. Let's look at this thing in 20 years. If your business is to be sustainable, how do you do that? Even almost like, how do you do that with AI and without AI?
So you're saying, how do I look at my business now versus 5, 10 years from now to determine
Mm-hmm.
the effectiveness of AI and what I need?
Mm-hmm.
So again, that again goes back to you kind of knowing your industry, kind of seeing what the trends are, where your business is transitioning into. Uh, just to kind of give understanding of that, we talked about, the BlackBerry before, how the
Yes.
BlackBerry kind of
I
had
used
the
to love my
smartphone market
BlackBerry.
on lock. Yeah, I love the BlackBerry, but
Loved
then out of the blue, the iPhone came, not just
it.
with the design of the phone, but the way the data was sold. Instead
Yeah.
of you buying airtime like we used to with the cell phone, Apple came out with a model of actually you just buying the data, and it completely changed how we did cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
BlackBerry kind of missed what the market was transitioning into. So you have to kind of look at your market, your industry, and understand what it's transitioning into, and have that foresight and that forethought to say, okay, this is where we are now. This is kind of what we're progressing towards. How can I incorporate AI into what I'm doing now to keep us on pace for this, so that when changes come, I'm able to pivot. And then 5 years from now, I can revisit this and see how well it's done, what tweaks need to be made, and what we're progressing towards now. So we have to always have that forethought of what's happening. How are things transitioning? We can't just be focused on the moment, in the moment of
Yeah.
everything is gravy right now. What is it going to be 5 and 10 years from now? And how can I incorporate this tool to help me be ready to pivot in that moment, to keep me ready to pivot in that moment?
And I was looking at, in researching this, it's even now where employers have to rethink professional developments.
Yes.
Employers have to rethink, how do I train the people that I have now? How do I institute this or incorporate AI with their training?
Right.
Gone is the day where it's like I hand you a actual book
Right.
and say, read through this and come up with a project.
Right.
Now, when I can just type in a couple of words and it gives me the whole project right there, at my fingertips. And so, one of the issues that was shared was, of course, your brand's reputation. Again, if you're producing these projects and you're saying you're trying to sell these projects and sell this product, it's, well, can you really produce what AI is saying that you can produce? Do you have the manpower?
Right.
Also, one of the issues was customer trust.
Right.
It's okay, did a person come up with this? Or if I'm calling the company, am I talking to an actual person who can
Yeah.
answer my question? Or like for example, I think they're the baby boomers, my mom's age. She
Yeah.
yelling at the phone because she want to talk to a person.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, yeah, I get it. Automatic automation is good and that kind of thing. But I need somebody who can actually, like you say, walk me through
Right.
something, answer a question for me. And even it talks about the concern of, like you said, long-term sustainability.
Right. Right.
If I have these platforms, can I keep up with them? Can I keep up with the cost of them?
Right. Right. Because two things. One is you talked about how your mom is on the phone yelling to talk to her, because we have to understand that certain questions aren't just black and white. There's
Mm,
some gray areas that a person.
yes.
I had an issue with Amazon the other day where um, I donated a book, so I had it shipped to the company I was donating it to,
Hmm.
but it came back as undeliverable. So I don't have the book. They don't have the book. So I request a refund from Amazon, and Amazon says, the automated thing said, we'll give you the refund once we receive the book with the tracking number that we give you. Well, I don't have the book, I'm not getting the book back. So the automated system is putting me through this loop. So I need to talk to a real person about this, because
Yes.
that's a nuance that the machine can't answer. So that's one thing. The second thing is, you talked about how we have to look at training, adapting the way we're training people. That is important. Why? Because we are living in a time where the candidate can use AI to generate a resume, to generate a
Hmm.
response. We
Hmm.
got to make sure that they can actually do what they say they can do.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out ways around AI to make sure that if I'm hiring this person, they can actually do the job that I'm hiring them to do. So these are, and AI may not be the best tool to help you determine that. So again, there are areas in your business where you are going to need actual people functioning, but you need to understand how I can make the people and the tool operate together, because it's critical, it's crucial. The machine, the AI can save you time on, the black and white questions, the simple questions, but you got to have some manpower available
Yeah.
when somebody needs to talk to a real person. So, for instance, we're talking about having international businesses and operating in different countries. Well, we got to have the mindset to understand, okay, there are different time zones. When I'm
Yeah.
asleep, they're awake, and they may need to talk to a real person. So you got to
Yeah.
factor all of those types of things in. Yeah.
So, even in ministry, we talk about, I'm called to the masses, I'm called to go global, I'm called to international ministry. And I was thinking about that a couple of weeks ago, and literally the Lord was like, okay, so you have to understand the regions that you're called to. You
Right.
have to understand the culture of the regions that you're called to. And it's the same thing of business, like you said, if they're different, um, cultural acceptances or standards. You have to know that in business.
Right.
Like you said, if there are different time zones, you have to know that in business. Even in terms of when you talk about holidays and religious observances, there are certain things that we still have to be aware of as humans.
Right.
So sometimes the whole AI thing is it's not that we're quick to, not that we should demonize it, but get a better understanding of what that is.
Right.
Sometimes it can be overwhelming when you talk about 90,000 different platforms.
Right.
That can be overwhelming, like and even in terms of getting the right guidance. So
Right.
let's be real. People are calling themselves AI experts
Yes.
because they've used it maybe 10 or 12 times and it worked.
Yeah.
And so now they're offering classes,
Right.
and now they're setting up sessions where you can pay so much to come in and learn about it. And it's not that necessarily that they know about it, it's because I sat at the computer for a couple of hours
Right.
and I
Right.
figured some things out, and now I want to offer it to people. And
Right.
so, even as a business owner, get clarity on that. Are these people vetted in what they say that they can offer you?
Right.
And we were out yesterday morning, and one of the participants said something that made sense. It's like, why am I wasting my time on getting something that I know I don't need?
Right.
And so
Right.
know the spaces that you need to be a part of, know the platforms that you need to be able to use. You don't need to learn all 90,000 of them.
Right. Right.
But we think that we do because, hey, here's the latest one.
Right.
And so, what do you say, even in terms of um, the use of, and I know this is a whole nother topic by itself, the terms of use of AI in the promotion of ministry and marketplace ministry? Like, is there a standard? Is there a boundary that we should set?
Um, I think with everything there are gonna have to be certain boundaries. Now, what those boundaries are might be different for each organization, each person. Um, but we have to understand that you have to have the mindset and the understanding of how to feed the information to the machine,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Yeah.
where your boundary
Yeah.
comes in. That's where your boundary is going to come in at. Um, for those who are old enough because again, for those who are old enough to remember before computers were what they are now. You had the old DOS computers where you actually had to type in the command function. Well, the computer only did what you told it to do. So you had to have the knowledge of articulating the command correctly to get the machine to do what you wanted it to do.
Mm-hmm.
It is the same with AI. If you don't know how to think critically and provide accurate instruction, you are never going to get what you need to get. And so when you start talking about boundaries, that's when a boundary begins to get crossed because you can't articulate what it is you're trying to feed into it. And
Yeah.
now you're just trying to do the catch all, and it's going to do whatever it's going to do to
Mm-hmm.
spit out what it thinks you're trying to. And now no vision, no creativity, no spirit direction is in the command that you gave it. And so now what do we get? We get all the flyers beginning to look the same with
The
that
same.
same little gold glossy arrow.
Yes, yes, all the same. And when it pumps out, we're like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
look!" And
Yeah.
it's like we're talking about the fact of, okay, when you start looking at the similarities, it's
Yeah.
like, is there anything really different?
Yeah.
The
Because it can
colors
do
are starting to
so
look
much
the
more.
same. The symbols are starting to look the same.
Right.
And so
That's the key thing is looking the same. It's
yeah,
killing our individuality because we are losing the
yes,
creativity to be able to articulate, and it can do so much more than that generic similar flyer that it keeps putting out for everybody.
for everybody. And so I was even down to like people who are in school now working on things like master's degrees or dissertations and that kind of thing. you know I, we're so accustomed now to using things as a crutch
Right.
Until you said it, you still have to have a certain level of human intelligence to be able to do it. And so I think sometimes people are relying on it completely to
Yeah.
think for me, include thinking for me. And
Yeah.
so you still have to be able to have a conversation with people, you still have to be able to communicate, you still have to be able to articulate. So there's so many factors, like you say, it's not just black and white.
Right.
When I communicate with you via AI, now you want an in-person meeting. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Now I have to be able to communicate.
Yeah. And
Now I have to be
I
able to pronounce those words.
talking about.
Yeah, I gotta understand it. And so literally I was laughing because, and I just did this the other day. So I was laughing because I think I saw some video clip where the guy was I think he sent off his resume. No, he sent an email to the company. And so at the top of the email, it was like, here is your polished such and such. He forgot to erase it. He forgot to erase it.
Yeah.
But
And
it
that's
was
the thing.
already sent.
Yeah. And people are getting so comfortable with it, they're not even checking it.
No.
You
You're
got to
not
check
even. And
behind
so
it too.
I did that the other day. I posted something the other day. And when I looked at the post, it was like, here is your newly created. I was like, no, that's not
Yeah.
supposed to be on the post. So, even when you talk about like flyers, I remember I was doing something with my husband's birthday. And so I made this flyer and everything. And so I sent it to my admin team, but I had already sent it out. And so I sent it to my admin team and they were like, do you know your flyer is speaking in tongue? I was like, what? I didn't check it.
Yeah.
Because it was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's AI. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Just looking at it from a glance, I was like, yeah, let me go ahead. And she was like, I know good and well you
Yeah.
did not email this. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, I did, but I
Yeah.
didn't check because I just assumed, well,
Yeah. And that's the human part that still
yeah.
has to be in your business to go over the image and the wording with fine tooth
Hmm.
comb, because it's in the background and the subtle places where AI will change something
Yeah.
and reproduce something that was totally out of what you desired or needed it to be. So that's something that, although you saved a fraction of the time producing something,
Hmm.
you still need the human eyes to go over it. And that still saves you time, that can still save you money,
Right.
but you still want to make sure you keep the quality of your service, the quality of your brand identity intact. So you send those extra eyes to go over it and check every piece of it to make sure that it's still in alignment with the vision that you have for your business and your organization.
And you still want to make sure that your picture looks like you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because some of these pictures out here, you're like, that is not
Who
them.
is that?
Like,
Now,
who is
and
that?
I have nothing against it, but I mean, it shouldn't be when you show up in person. I'm like, well, who are you?
Yeah, who is
Who
that?
are you? Because that is not the person that is on this flyer.
Yeah.
Who?
That
So
and
now
so
I think this is like worthy of exploring even more. What do you think?
I think it is. This is something that this won't be the last time that we're talking about
Mm-mm.
AI. And I think we should get some actual AI experts to come
Yeah.
and talk to us about these things as well. Because again, it this is an opportunity for you to employ something into your business that can actually help you. It
Right.
can save you money. It can save you time, and it can help you keep your brand core identity. But this is also a wonderful time for new businesses to be
Yeah.
created, and we can't sidestep that. This is an opportunity for new businesses to be created where you don't have to know how to code and write software programming now. So we can't gloss over that. So this is a wonderful topic that we definitely gonna have to come back to.
Listen, so we enjoyed our time with you all today. Let the people know what we have coming up next week.
We have Coffee with Catalyst coming up next Wednesday, 8 a.m. Y'all join us for Coffee with Catalyst. We're gonna sit down. Opportunity for you to network. Just July 15th. This is an opportunity for you to network. Come with business problems. We're gonna have a discussion. Nothing too formal. This is an opportunity
Mhm.
for business leaders and organizational leaders to come together and just say, this is something I'm dealing with, and just get a wealth of information from other business leaders who may have experienced some of what you experienced, or just have a different perspective and new insight that'll help you overcome some of the humps that are going on in your business or your leadership journey. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be wonderful. We're at Breakers Coffee Roaster in Lawrenceville. Go to our Facebook page, on our website, and all these things to get the address. Go to our meetup page and RSVP. You got to buy your own coffee, but hey, it's going to be free conversation.
Yes. So all are invited, ministry in the marketplace. If you are a ministry leader, if you are a business owner, even if you're just thinking about, well, I don't have a business yet, come on, let's have these conversations. You're welcome to come so we can sit and talk about what's actually going on.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. So I hope to see you all there with us next Wednesday, July 15th, 8 a.m. in Lawrenceville. So if anybody has any questions, drop them in the chat for us. If not, we will see you all next time on the 360.